What's good? It's your guy Black Fever here. Uh, it's been a while since I did a 5 minutes with Fev. We probably gonna go over 5 minutes. Obviously, we got a lot to talk about. I've been doing a lot of shorts. I've been getting a lot of love, a lot of numbers on my shorts. If we could keep those going. I don't really ask this, but could y'all subscribe, share, like the videos or dislike the videos? It don't matter. Leave a comment. So yeah, man, this Saturday, the unthinkable happened. Terrence Bud Crawford defeated the Canelo Alvarez. I say unthinkable because, nobody believed. Nobody believed, and the people who did believe, they were called fanboys or whatever. You know what I mean? I feel like the unbelievable is only unbelievable to people who don't believe. And me, myself, I believe in Bud Crawford the same way I believed in Floyd Mayweather. The same way I believe in Tank Davis. I just have a belief in the fighters that I like, the things that I see. I don't think anybody could beat Terrence Crawford, right? Doesn't matter the size. Weight doesn't matter. It's about heart. And it don't matter the size. Just like what Tank was saying about Bud, once I tap his chin, it's going to be a different story. That's supreme confidence in yourself. That's a belief. He's a little dude, but he feels that if I touch your chin, you're going to bed. Guess who else feels like that? Me. I feel like that. I don't care how big you are, how small you are. When the time is here, I'm not going to say, oh, you're not in my weight class. I don't fight in the ring. I'm not a boxer. But my knuckle game is sweet. So, if I got to get into it with somebody, it don't matter how big you are. Once I touch your chin, you're going to sleep. Or the trajectory of the altercation is going to go in my favor once I get my hands on your chin. That's how you're supposed to feel. As a man, that's how you're supposed to feel. It don't matter what size you are, what weight class you in, how many belts you got. That means nothing when it comes time to putting these hands on somebody else's chin. So with that being said, I had supreme confidence in Bud Crawford. I think Bud Crawford could beat Benavidez. He beat the brother. Not to say that, they in the same class, but I mean, it don't make a difference. Bud is smart. Bud knows how to fight. I think Bud will beat Benavidez the same way. It'll look the same way, but that's just my belief. And guess what? If he had to lock into that, he'll believe the same thing. But let's get into the fight, man. First round, they both came out downloading. But Bud was probing a lot more than Canelo was. Canelo was doing a lot of feints and moving around. I don't think Canelo fully understood the ability the ability Terrence Crawford had to download and retain information, and how fast that happens for him in the ring. I think Canelo quickly got frustrated that he wasn't able to walk Bud into the traps that he normally walks everybody into. And then by the fourth round, in my opinion, the fight was already won. Bud already figured Canelo out, and Canelo didn't throw punches and bunches, which he doesn't really do anymore. And Bud had him. The 10th, 11th, and 12th rounds, clearly, I heard some people saying that they might have gave Canelo the 10th round. I didn't see it that way. I saw Bud getting really comfortable. At that point, Canelo has landed some shots on Bud, body shots included. And Bud realized that he could take that, so he stood in the phone booth with him and was throwing more punches and bunches. He was throwing great combinations to the body and the head. And the main factor for me was around, I think maybe I don't know if it was the 6th or 7th round, one of those rounds when they tangled up and Bud grabbed him and spun him around to the other side, like turned Canelo over to the ropes. And I said the same thing that happened with him and Errol Spence when he pushed Errol Spence and Spence went across the ring and everybody realized, whoa, he's stronger. I realized right then and there he's stronger than Canelo. He's stronger than Canelo. I kind of thought I knew that. I don't think a lot of boxers realize how strong Bud really is. Bud is a strong dude. And I don't think Canelo was expecting that. And it is true. I'm hearing a lot of people. I hear people like Paulie Malignaggi and some other people off the top. I can't really name off the top, but I've heard quite a few people say that he kind of quit around the 10th round. Throwing one shot, trying to knock Bud out is not the game plan against Bud Crawford. He's not going to sit in a spot where you're going to land that one big shot on him to change things. If you are going to hit him with some shots, you're going to have to counter him. You're going to have to catch him in a gunfight. And he did a great job of handling his business and then getting out of there. Giving Canelo a lot of different looks. I heard a lot of people saying that Bud wouldn't be able to bounce on his feet that long because he was an older guy, but he's been out for a year, right? He's been training for a year. A lot of people saying that he should have been taking fights in between. He should have been taking warm-up fights. No. He didn't need to take no warm-up fights. He needed that whole year to gain the weight comfortably. He needed to diagnose how that weight was gonna feel on his body as he moved around, as he threw punches. And I think he did the smartest thing in the world. And I heard somebody say that Bud has always wanted to fight Canelo Alvarez in some way, shape, form, and fashion. And he's always had his eye on that goal. If he verbalized it or not, he always wanted that fight. So he's been studying Canelo. He's been downloading Canelo. He knew exactly what was going to happen when he went into that fight. Just everybody else didn't. Right? Everybody else was apprehensive on what was going to happen, but not Bud. Bud knew exactly what was going to happen. Hey, I seen Errol Spence say that he had Bud, and I don't think he had Bud just because they're good friends or I think he was in there with that monster and he knew what that was. I think he knew what that was. And honestly, I think Spence would have beat Canelo. At the time when that fight was gaining traction and they were talking about it, I truly think that Spence would have beat Canelo. I truly believe that. Not that Canelo was not good. Again, I started this. Canelo was one of the greatest boxers in the world. One of the greatest. He's done some beautiful things. But he has been cherry picking for quite a long time. He's been fighting for a really long time, since he was about 15 years old. As most boxers, or most fighters in general, right? Most people fighting in general. I come from the Bronx. I come from the projects in the Bronx. I've been fighting my whole life, right? I've been fighting my whole life, man. First fight I might have been like 10, right? So, oh, no, I'm lying. I might have been like 8 or 9, right? My first real fight that I ever had. So, fight is fight. Fight is fight. And I think Canelo might be on the downswing in his career, obviously. And now I'm just choosing the fights that I want to fight. William Skull wasn't the warm-up that he needed for somebody like Terrence Crawford. He already had a contractual obligation, so he fought that fight. But that wasn't the fight that you needed to warm up to somebody like Bud Crawford. And I also heard Canelo say that Bud is not special. Well, he learned that Saturday night, just exactly how special Bud was. Although I do believe that he would beat Benavidez, I don't think that that's the fight that they're going to make happen for whatever reason. I don't think that he needs the fight. He doesn't need to do anything at this point. However, I don't think they're gonna field that fight. I don't think that's gonna happen. I really don't know what's next for Bud. I believe he's gonna probably stay at 168. I really don't know the landscape there. I really don't see what's there for him unless people come there to that to that division. People like Errol Spence or somebody like Virgil Ortiz or maybe Boots. But they would have to come to 68. I don't see him going back down. That wouldn't be wise to go back down. That's what happened with Roy Jones. Unfortunately, that's what happened with Roy Jones. He put on all that weight and then he came back down. I don't think that Terrence needs to do that. I think he's comfortable at 168. I don't think he never has to drain himself again to get there. Now is the argument of, him being a weight bully, whatever that's supposed to mean. I feel like this. If you were able to drain yourself and dehydrate yourself to get down to the size, if you made the size, you made the size. I don't think that's weight bullying. So whoever's in 168, beware. Maybe he might drop down to 160 and unify that. That'd be amazing. But as of right now, in the landscape of boxing as it stands right now, Terrence Bud Crawford is the best boxer in the world. Shout out to Inoue. Inoue finished up. I didn't get a chance to watch that fight. It was hard to find. But shout out to Inoue. He did what he normally does. But he's eventually going to have to make a move. He's slowly outgrowing that weight class. Maybe not size-wise, but there's no competition for you there. He might have to come over to the States. The Shushu fight, they might have to make that happen. I would love to see Stephen Fulton get another shot at him. There's some fights out there. Some fights over here in the States that maybe Inoue can stay at that size. But Inoue, actually, I believe he needs to move up. And if he dares to be great, he would move up. I think that's what we're seeing right now. With Bud is dare to be great. Dare yourself to be great. Move up. Do the unthinkable. Do what people don't think that you can do. Right? That's how you challenge yourself. It was a true master class, man. It was a true master class. Bud looked amazing. Shout out to Mbili and Lester. His last name is escaping me right now, but that was an amazing fight. When I say boxing fans' dream, that was a boxing fan's dream. Those guys stayed in the pocket. They stayed glued to each other the whole fight on the ropes. A draw, just because, you know what, you don't even want to see somebody that was engaged in a fight like that lose. So I agree with the draw. I would love to see that fight again. That was an amazing fight. Shout out to Bomac. You win some, you lose some. Bomac took a loss earlier with Steven Nelson. Shout out to Steven Nelson. I kind of think it's time for him to hang it up. Personally, you could get a lot of gym work, which you can't. I just, I think it's time for you to like kind of hang it up. He didn't look impressive in his last few fights. I think it might be time for him to hang it up. The gym might be the best place for you if you want to stick around. I just think you should just do the gym work and help Bud and help everybody else, Lester and anybody else that they got in the camp. It's beautiful, man. I just love the fact that everybody who doubted Bud now has to eat their hat. I love that. I really appreciate that because, like Bud said, the media thought I couldn't win. I never thought that I couldn't win. Y'all put those limitations on Bud, not Bud. Bud didn't put those limitations on himself, and that's a lesson to kids out there, anybody, right? Once you get your mind fixated on something, if you believe it, then that's the outcome that it's gonna be. Right? If you can believe, then you can achieve. That's not just a cliche statement. That's the truth. That is the truth. That is the law of attraction. That is, the universe rewards confidence. Right? The universe doesn't reward apprehension. Right? So when you're confident and you got a full head of steam based on something, normally the universe backs you. Of course, it takes hard work, skill, dedication, everything else, but Bud has been doing that. It was just an amazing night of boxing, honestly. I don't know what's next. I mean, if Bud wants to retire, that's good. Clearly, he's in a deal with Turki Al-Sheikh, and I don't think that that's necessarily in the plans. But I don't want him to fight Benavidez. I do think he'll beat Benavidez. But if that's not something that he wants to do, I don't think that he should be forced to do that. And that's not necessarily the fight I want to see. And Benavidez done went up to about 174. I think he should stay there and handle that. Don't come back down because that'll be bad for you, Benavidez. That'll put you at a disadvantage to go back down. You done went up there, you put on the size and the muscle or whatever you needed to do to get to 174. Stay there. Stay there. Make your way there. Make your way there. Tank Davis against Jake Paul. Shout out to Tank Davis, one of my favorite fighters as well. I got a lot of admiration for that guy to be the size that he is, to pack the punch that he does. I mean, he's truly one of the biggest faces in boxing because he puts asses in seats because he knocks people out, right? And that's what we want to see. We want to see knockouts, and he provides that. He has the highest knockout ratio in boxing. So nobody could deny that. Nobody could take that from him. But I think the politics of the sport soured him. And I think his life is moving at a pace that everybody else's life is not moving at, right? So I'm not going to criticize him for taking the Jake Paul fight. I'm not going to criticize him for that. We all know that that's not a real boxing match. We all know that there's other fights out there that we would love to see him fight. And not to say that he won't get to that, right? But if he can have an opportunity to make the money that he feels that he needs to make to step away, more power to him, because boxing is not a sport that you can halfway do. You get hurt like that, you can die in the ring. Boxing is not a sport that you can halfway do. So if his heart is not 100% into it, then, that I don't want to see Tank get hurt in the ring. So You know, if he can get the money that he needs to step away, sure. A rematch with Lamont Roach. I mean, I guess because it was a draw, I might want to see that, but I'm not really too interested in that. I honestly, now that, we got a lot of attention on Lamont Roach, I want to see Lamont Roach go ahead and make his own, blaze his own trail now, right? Go ahead and beat Pitbull. Go ahead and, fight Shakur. Go ahead and fight, whoever else is out there. Step up. Go fight Devin. Go fight Tio. I would love to see him in that bundle of fighters, right? Especially if Bud doesn't want to do that. I would love to see Lamont Roach go ahead and step into that spot and fight all of these guys. That'd be amazing. Shout to Lamont Roach. Shout to Tank. Shout to everybody. Lamont Roach versus Ryan. Lamont Roach versus everybody. I would like to see that for him, right? He deserves that. He's been underground for a long time. And shout to Tank for even giving him that spotlight. Because we're not about to sit here and act like fighting Tank ain't the biggest spotlight of the majority of boxers' career. So, shout to Tank for giving him that shot. Right? I'm hearing Floyd, they talking about Floyd potentially coming back to fight Bud. I don't think that Floyd should do that. However, it'll be a difficult one for me to pick because similar to Bud, I don't believe anybody could beat Floyd. I don't believe anybody could beat Floyd. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be fun to watch. He's going to run. He's going to stay away from you. But I believe he can beat anybody. I think he's smart enough. He has the IQ. He has all of the skills. He's fucking Floyd Mayweather. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? He's Floyd Mayweather. But I don't want to see that fight because that would require Bud to lose weight. They wouldn't fight at 168, so I don't want to see that. But I'm excited for boxing. We need to get Shakur back in the ring. I would love to see now the Shakur and Devin fight. I really want to see that more than a Devin and Ryan rematch. I don't really want to see that. I really would love to see Shakur and Devin get that business settled. I mean, it's quite a few fights that I really would like to see out there. Now that Gary Russell Jr. is back in the mix, I want to see what's next for him. He looked very impressive. And you guys know my dark horse. Gary Antoine Russell is my dark horse. I think that kid is incredible. I would love to see Lamont Roach versus him. If they can make that happen as far as weight, I would love to see Gary Antoine Russell versus Devin, Tank, Shakur, Ryan, Rolly. I mean, whoever's out there that can possibly shed more light on Gary Antoine Russell, I want that fight to happen. He's also somebody that I have supreme belief in. I think he's a really special fighter. I think he has a lot of grit. And when you have a pedigree like that, the hours that he's put into his craft, The hours that his family has put into their craft as a unit is just second to none, and I just got a lot of admiration for those guys. I love the story, and I want to see the Russell family win and continue to keep winning as they have. And I really, something about Gary Antoine Russell that I really, really appreciate as a boxer. He brings it every time. He's not going to run around. He's going to give me what I'm looking for. He's going to stand there and he's going to fight you. But he also has the smarts to adjust to the things that he'll need to adjust to. I would love to see him in Boots. They got a history. I would love to see him in Boots fight. I mean, we got a lot of fights out there that I really would like to see. You got Brian Norman Jr. I like to see him fight. I like him. He's a really scrappy, tough fighter. I like to see him fight. I want to know what's going on with Kid Austin. He dispatched Devin Farmer. That fight shouldn't have happened. I want to see what's next for Kid Austin. Abdullah Mason. You know, I'm a big fan of that kid. He's another kid on the uprise. Kamel Martin. I want to see what's going on with him. He's been on ice for a little while. He's growing in size. I want to see what's going on with him. The Davis brothers, Keyshawn, I really don't know, what's going on with his situation. That was really a black eye for the sport and himself. Obviously, he's been in limbo ever since, a few months ago, the unfortunate turn of events that happened with him. But his little brother has a lot of promise. I'm really excited about his future. I really like that kid. I think he's an amazing boxer. I would like to see him in the ring. I just want everybody to fight, right? If y'all going to be in the sport, fight. Give us the fights that we need. Give us the fights that we want to see. I don't know how I feel about Turki Al-Sheikh and Dana White changing things, because I just fear that eventually it's going to get to a space where the fighters lose their liberty and their free will to do what it is that they do to feed their families, similar to the UFC. Dana White is a very controversial individual. He's a genius businessman, but a lot of times in business, it doesn't benefit the field, so to speak. When you work in a corporation, you work in a job, right? The things that the company might feel is best for them to go in the direction, pay cuts, staff cuts, rules and policies and different things, that's helping the business, but that might not help the worker. That might not be the best thing for the worker at that time. And Dana White is a true businessman. Although he loves the sport of, combat sports, but I don't know if his decisions are totally with the athletes in mind, and they're the people in the ring beating their brains out, getting their brains beat out, damaging their hands, putting in so much work and training and pushing themselves to limits that they didn't know that they can get to. So I truly believe that, I just worry about where it's headed. I do appreciate Turki Al-Sheikh and the things that he's been able to accomplish thus far. But I just hope it doesn't get to a point where it's not fair for the boxers, because they put in a lot of work and they put in a lot of time and effort, and they lose a lot of themselves. You know, every training camp, you lose some of yourself. Every fight, especially if you leaving everything in the ring, you can't get that back. You know, what's left in the ring is gone, right? You'll be different after that, right? So, yeah, man, I'm over 30 minutes. I didn't expect to go this far, so I'm going to sign out. Shout out to everybody in boxing. Shout out to Bud Crawford, man. Shout out to Canelo Alvarez. I don't know what's next for him. I don't think he's going to retire. He might need to retire. I don't know if that's what he's going to do. He said he's not going to do that. But shout out to them. Shout out to everybody involved. Rest in peace, Ricky Hatton. What else I got? That's about it, man. Shout out to everybody out there. Y'all stay blessed. It's your guy, Black Fever. I'm out. 5 minutes with Fever.